which makes me even less excited for the new Thor movie because it's like a month away and we still haven't had a major trailer drop for it yet. I don't know, I just feel like it's going to go back to the same formula. I might just be talking out of my ass, but, you know, that's just how I feel like it'll go. Well guys, turns out I was right. Turns out exactly what I said 3 months ago was pretty accurate to how this movie was going to turn out. Obviously I didn't want it to be that way, but it's very obvious when a Marvel movie isn't going to do as good since the movie was announced years ago and we only got like 2 trailers for it. Now there is one thing I have to say, and it's a point I mentioned in my last review about Doctor Strange. I'm very glad that these movies are becoming more stylized. I brought it up before because Doctor Strange at least had a personality to it, that's why I liked it so much, and this movie's no different. There's a lot of cool and unique shots in these movies, and it helps to break away from that Marvel shell most movies fall under. Now obviously this video has spoilers, I'm not going to try and review this without spoilers, so here's your warning. Alright, I'm going to start off with what I like about this movie first. The very start of this movie feels completely different from the rest. It contains some of the coolest shots and storytelling in the whole film. I think Gore's backstory was compelling and interesting enough to drive the whole film. The only issue is that we don't get to see more of him. He is by far the best character in this movie. Seeing him as this overly devout follower of the gods and having that belief system shattered is really interesting to see. I also really like the start with the Guardians. Call me biased all you want, but any scene with them instantly takes the cake for me. I mentioned before how I like these movies are becoming more stylized to the director, and Taika definitely knows how to direct this type of cast. The whole theme in this scene is really cool as well. It has this awesome 90s punk rock vibe, and it lasts throughout the whole fight. I mean, look at these character designs, they're so cool. This theme also really works with the music used in this scene. Taika Waititi's pretty good at directing comedy. Obviously he's worked with some of these actors before, so he knows what works and what doesn't. But it seems like the things he directs are actually able to resort at least a chuckle out of me. There's always this underlying feeling of lightheartedness with his movies, and although this movie is severely average, you can still tell the cast was having a good time. Okay, now on to the criticism, that's all the praise I'm going to give this movie. This movie is so tonally inconsistent with what it's trying to say. I know I just praised Taika's comedic directing, but there needs to be a certain point where it stops. Korg is like the narrator for the whole movie, and it never made me laugh once. You'll have a serious scene with Gore, and then straight after you'll have Thor quipping with Natalie Portman. I just think it needs to be a lot more consistent with a story like this, where it focuses on love and death. Jane Foster is literally dying of cancer, and it's not taken that seriously until the first climax of the movie. Like, we'll have this really cool scene with the gods on Mount Olympus or whatever, where it's mostly funny, but it has this sinister undertone that kind of makes you agree with Gore's perspective on the gods. Oh shit, this is a really cool scene, and Korg dies. Oh, but never mind, his death is just played off as a joke and he's still alive.
Here I am! I didn't die!
This movie has some serious whiplash when it comes to what theme this movie is trying to portray. One second it's a rom-com and the next it's a dark drama with Gore. You'll have Russell Crowe talking about orgies, then you'll see Gore tormenting a bunch of kids next. Now I'm going to move on to my biggest complaint about this movie. The kids. Well, not kids in general, although they are horrible. It's just the child actors. Once I realized that this movie's plot was going to be focused around them, I got very upset. Whenever a movie has child actors focus around the plot, it never turns out well. It's so distracting seeing pretty good acting all across the board from these actors, and then when it cuts to the child actors, the quality drops a serious amount. And I literally just talked about this in my Stranger Things review, where I said even in season 1 of the show, the acting was really good. And it all boils down to casting. See, where everyone in Stranger Things is very good at acting, they're able to bounce off each other like nothing now. See my point? If you're going to use child actors, you need to find kids with chemistry, which I find weird since Taika and Chris's kids were used in this movie, and it was still extremely distracting to watch because there was no chemistry or any semblance of acting between them at all.
Our kids are in the film, yeah. Christian's kids are in the film, Natalie's kids are in the film, you know, they're, it's just cheap labor.
And I shouldn't even have to mention the final climax of this film. Any sense of reason or anything at all is thrown out the window for, yet again, a big, dumb CGI fight with children this time. Look, I'm not opposed to this type of genre of climaxes, you just need to make it convincing for the audience to watch. I thought the middle of this movie where they fight Gore for the first time was actually really cool. It had a really interesting concept with how the colour was used in that scene. It's just upsetting to see a fight like this and then have it severely downgraded in the end. It's even sadder to think about that this movie was supposed to be longer. Its 2-hour runtime is very disorientating, and it fell into the Star Wars problem, where everyone was just jumping around too quickly and not leaving anyone to catch up with the scene that they just watched. Gore was a fun character, but he was gone too quick for us to feel any semblance of love for him. So my final score for this movie is a 5, 4.5. I don't know, 4.5 or 5. Okay, see ya.